with Dan Fisher about, you know, the recruiting impact that can have for his program. What kind of recruiting impact can it have for yours?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I expect it to be a game changer for us in that regard. It's really one of the only things that we're missing. I have a great staff. We have some great kids on this team, and we're surrounded by really talented wrestlers. You know, in Pennsylvania and Ohio. So yeah, this is going to be big for recruiting for us.
Coach, as someone who went to Pitt
Mm-hmm.
when the facilities weren't always top-notch, in a year or two, when you look around, you're going to know what town you're in.
Yeah. I mean, like Coach Fisher was saying, you don't make excuses, you know, when you're in there. So it became almost like a sense of pride, you know, for us that we didn't have. Maybe some things that the other schools did, you know, as an athlete it did, because that's the way you kind of have to look at it. You know, if I'm thinking that my room's not nice enough, well then we're not going to win much, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, with that said, it's again, it's going to impact us in a lot of ways, and not just with recruiting. I mean, it's got a bigger space than what we're training in right now. You know, in our wrestling room right now, the layout's a little funny, and it's just not big enough. So we have. Like, we'll do practice now, and we have, you know, the first 5 weight classes, those guys get on the mat while the other guys are off riding the bike or something. Because if we do them all together, they'll run into each other, and then you have some unnecessary injuries. So it's just going to be a lot more efficient for training, you know.
Anything additional for Coach?
Keith, what do you feel like the impact of, you know, not just having sort of your own facility, but to have a venue where wrestling can be highlighted in this area where there are a lot of wrestling fans, and it's a sport that has grassroots appeal. How can that impact your program as well?
Yeah, that kind of support, I think, is what we're looking to get, you know, and we've seen it a little bit. I mean, winning helps with all that stuff, and having this facility is going to help us win. So, so in that regard, it's gonna help us get more fans. But we're seeing it already, you know, with a little bit. We had to wrestle Ohio State this year at 3:00 on a Friday, and it was packed, right? I mean, and that's an unusual time. So, what helps us too is we have a lot of kids from the area, you know, on the team. So they come. You know, we have Cole Matthews from Reynolds, and I feel like every time we have a home match, his whole town shows up, you know. And he's from Transfer PA, so that means about 25 people. But still, it's you know, it's kind of cool to have that support, you know. And this is just going to increase that.
Yeah, you know, Dan just mentioned his skepticism. Having somebody who's been here with much longer ties to the university, would it be fair to say that when this was initially floated out, you were kind of like, okay?
Maybe not so much, because I knew of Heather's reputation, you know, from she worked with wrestling at Ohio State, and I was pretty close with those guys, and they told me early on that she was going to help us, and she gets things done. So, but I've been a part of a couple of different athletic departments, and there's always ideas out there, you know, and I think like actually executing the ideas is what you know, sets this one apart.
You mentioned this being a game changer earlier. I mean, Pennsylvania high school wrestling is one of the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this will give you the opportunity to keep more kids close to home?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we're trying to do that now. And when I say that, I mean, we'd take a good wrestler from anywhere. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do well, it's gonna be with a lot of homegrown kids, you know, because we can't let these guys. And you're not gonna get everybody, but you know, we got to keep as many as we can. So yes, if we're gonna do well, that will always be the top of our list when it comes to recruiting, is keeping some of these kids that we have in the area at home.
Anything final for Coach? Coach, thank you.